consumer or just talk to people from those industries and I see that they're growing. And I would actually be a user of those startups myself. Like if you decide to start anything from this video, reach out to me and let me know. Okay, let's dive into ideas. I'm gonna start with financial markets just because I became an investor a year ago, like the typical investor who buys stocks, who buys bonds. This year I'm also starting to invest in startups here in Silicon Valley because I guess this is just the path that you take when you're in Silicon Valley. But basically what I've struggled with is analyzing my portfolio as a whole. And I know there is Mint.com, I know there is Personal Capital. What happens with Personal Capital, it just logs out of half of my accounts every time I try to log in. So every time I want to check my portfolio, I need to re-log into like Capital One, Webull, whatever I'm using, just because this connections drop off. I don't know if it's just my problem or it's a problem that is global to that platform, but I can't really analyze my portfolio on a monthly basis just because I freak out logging in every time. With Mint.com, I haven't experienced such a problem, but it doesn't give me an in-depth analysis. Like for example, I'm getting a little nerdy here, but we're gonna get into other ideas as well. But basically, if I buy an ETF that already has Amazon stock and I buy Amazon stock separately, it can't really tell me that I already own a fraction of Amazon through an ETF and I already own Amazon as a stock. There are a couple more services that I've tried. I couldn't find anything. I know there are startups being built around that, but really guys, something that helps analyze investment portfolios and can work with multiple accounts, can connect to crypto wallets, etc. Like provide this comprehensive analysis, that will be amazing. That will be a nap of the year for me at least. Number two, one more idea in financial markets. A lot of portfolio management strategies focus on how to build a portfolio of stocks that's going to grow. But I see a lot of people actually investing to live off dividends because you not only earn money on the stock growing, you can also get dividends and support your lifestyle based on that. So ideally, I would want to see an app where I go and say, hey, I want to get at least like $1,000 in dividends annually, and this is how much I'm able to invest. And then the app tells you which strategies would suit your request and tell you how probable it is that the companies would continue paying dividends that they're paying right now. So how probable it is that you would actually get money from your strategy. This would be amazing. Again, I haven't seen that, but I get so many requests from people like, oh, Marina, because I share my investment journey on my Instagram, and people will be like, Marina, in terms of like dividend investing, what do you do? And I don't do anything because it just seems too complicated analyzing every single stock for how much dividends they pay. So this app would really mean a lot to me as an individual investor. And because I haven't found anything on the market right now, I think this is something that has a lot of future. And like financial markets are growing like crazy with all the apps appearing on the market where you can follow other creators' investments, where you can co-invest in startups. Like that market is huge and it's going to grow. So if you're interested in personal finance, if you're interested in investing, highly recommend you to dig a little deeper into the market and research more ideas on your own. While we're moving to the second industry, this is my favorite industry, creator economy. Pretty new in terms of like defining it, because not a lot of people have talked about or heard about passion economy, creator economy. When you do something that you love, like creating videos, and you're able to support yourself and your family by either selling courses, providing services, etc. So here I see so many opportunities. Opportunity number one is Y Combinator for creators. And I know investing in people is like this whole new market that is not regulated these days, and there are so many hurdles to invest in people. But if you could give someone some cash up front and then make them go through a rigorous program where you teach them how to create content, how to market yourself, how to present yourself on camera, and in exchange you get a share of their future income, this is something that definitely has future, because I believe that the future middle class are actually creators, and a lot of companies are now focused on creating their own communities. We see how much creators are making by starting businesses around their communities, and yeah, I just think it's the future, and investing in promising people early on can be just the new form of investing. So we're kind of connecting the two markets here. Idea number 4 is actually helping those creators start a business. So for example, I have a course for YouTubers where I focus a lot on how you delegate and how you get help, because you don't have to do everything yourself, even right from the start. Because for example, I hate editing. I don't like editing. I delegated it a year in starting a YouTube channel. There are two types of things that you can do. First, you can create a company that solves one particular problem. Like for example, if a creator wants to have a course, but he needs course manager, customer support, building a website, etc. Like as a creator, I want to focus on creating content. I don't want to deal with management or operations because most of creators haven't been trained to do that. Outsourcing that for a fraction of revenue, this is something that Maven is doing. So Maven is the startup that is helping course creators create cohort-based courses, and they basically give you in-house support with like building everything, etc. But there are also so many other things that creators worry about, like video production or dealing with brands, dealing with the different companies. So the way you could solve these two problems is you either set up an agency where you have people and you approach creators and explain them how you can help with monetizing their business, their community, or you can build a platform where creators can actually find help, like editors, like thumbnail designers, etc. This is something I'm also trying to do within my community of people who are taking my course, but I also understand like this is a lot of work. So there isn't much competition out there, and this is definitely an opportunity for you to start a business and make good money. The next one is going to be education market. So education market is this tricky market where like if you work in education, you feel that you're making the world a better place. You feel that you're providing so much information. But it's really hard to make good money in education just because if you look at like revenues of top universities, the majority of revenue is actually coming from donations, etc., and or from the investments that they make. But generally, people don't invest that much in their education. So there, you really need to find the product market fit. Going back to creators, I know creators who make $100,000 per batch of just launching their course, and they launch 3 times or 4 times a year. And the thing is, with a creator creating a course, normally only his or her subscribers would buy that course. So there is no discoverability for the courses. So for example, I have this YouTube course, but people who take this course mostly follow me on social media. And if I want people who don't know me to purchase my course, I need to launch the whole marketing campaign, funnels, convert them, etc. And this is a problem that could potentially, and I say potentially because people have been trying to solve it, but I haven't seen like a good solution here, but like a course platform where you have all the courses created by creators. And if I type in YouTube, I will see my course, I will see other people's courses with rankings, with objective reviews, because if you have a review coming from your loyal subscriber, it's always going to be a great one. But if you have a review coming from just a professional who's taken all of those courses and is giving his professional opinion, that's a completely different kind of review. The business idea sounds like discoverability for different courses that are being created online. And the market is huge. It's growing like crazy. And pandemic has just sped everything up. People are creating more and more courses. People are consuming more and more both paid and free content. So this is definitely a niche and education market, and we don't have a booking.com, we don't have Expedia for these online courses, but you really need to solve this trust problem because sometimes you just don't want to take a course from somebody you don't know. The next business idea is news curation in your area of expertise. Just think of Morning Brew. I think they are the ones who made this like mass market. Morning Brew is the subscription where you just you wake up every morning and they select news that are related to like what's going on in the world, but they also write it in a very entertaining language, so it's not like this boring news website. But for example, if you are into brain science, there is so much going on, you understand what's going on, but it's too complicated for ordinary people to understand, like this new research that just came out. So creating something like a subscription email newsletter that tells about the latest discoveries in brain science, that will be amazing. I would be a subscriber because I don't want to be all over the place, all over different websites. I just want somebody to curate news in a certain industry for me, and I'm ready to pay for it. And for example, Morning Brew is actually, it's free. They make money by putting ads in their emails, but they've been sold for 75 million. And the guys who started it, it wasn't like they were starting a huge company. They just started doing what they love, curating news about things they understood. So this is another cool business idea. The next idea, I would call it career tracker path. The problem with today's education is that, yes, universities and colleges in the US, for example, they are required to collect data whether students have found job, whether they haven't, but they collect it only in a few months after they graduate, and then what happens in 10 years, nobody cares. But if you build something that would analyze students' journey in 5 years, in 10 years after graduating from a particular program, that would be amazing. So basically I see it as building an AI that would analyze both LinkedIn profiles to look for like college that people went into, the career they ended up with, and also combine it with Glassdoor information about how much they're making. And you can monetize it by providing access to that information, or you can provide widgets to universities who are doing really well to put on their website. And this is how I think Trustpilot became this giant company that IPO'd, just because they, not only collected reviews, but they also provided a lot of tools for companies themselves to embed their banners, to highlight great reviews, and to highlight great customer experiences. The next idea, I'm taking a course from an investor, and she has this folder on her desktop which has failed startups. And she actually tracks all the opportunities that she missed on, or opportunities she was looking at. And if they failed, she would just have this database, which is really important to analyze, not only for herself, but it's very important for everyone. Like if you're building a business in this industry and you're doing this and that, there's a very high chance somebody else tried it and they failed for some reason. And that doesn't mean you're gonna fail. It means that they took some wrong steps. Maybe the business model was wrong, or maybe they were not too passionate about the problem, or maybe the market was shrinking, something that we talked about at the beginning of this video. So having a failure database, again, it's like this newsletter that we talked about. You have to be an expert. Like you can have a failure database for startups in creator economy, or you can have a failure database for YouTubers who started teaching on YouTube and analyze their mistakes. And again, this could be a B2B model where you sell access to different VC funds if you're in business, or you can just, again, vlog about it and become a creator based on that. But that's a cool niche that I think is underexplored, just because people love to share success stories and we see them everywhere on the news, but we don't see a lot of failure stories. And failures are what we learn from, but normally we tend to live with them quietly and cry for ourselves and never share them. And I think it's really important to share your failures. And the last but not the least, underrated website finders. So what's happening these days in the world is that it's really hard to discover something that is small and new, or that is not really well optimized online. Just because giant websites have a lot of tactics of raising higher in search, they have great SEO specialists, and smaller websites or like smaller Substack emails that have amazing information, it's really hard to discover them. So this could be a search engine that takes into consideration other people's opinions about the website, how much time they spend there, even if the traffic is really small. Because again, if the traffic is really small, but the website is great, it still wouldn't end up on the first page of Google, and that will be undiscovered. And I feel the same about people, really. I wouldn't say I have a business idea in mind, but it's just like we see all the bloggers, like if I'm looking for great information about, I don't know, childcare. Yes, we know a lot of bloggers who have millions of followers who blog about that. But I also know that there is a mom out there who can provide more value for me, but she only has like 1,000 followers, and it's very, very hard for me to discover her. Like, how do I do that? Because Instagram's algorithm would never recommend her to me. So this discoverability problem is something that I wanted to wrap up with, just because there is no like ideal solution right now, but it's something that helped TikTok grow, because TikTok helps discover new talents. I'm gonna list some resources that I rely